Welcome to the Health Revolution, the show that leads you to a life of vibrant well-being. In a world full of noisy health trends, we bring you clarity through a sea of fads. We reveal the science behind the strategies that truly work. We explore physical strength, emotional resilience, and mental mastery, the keys to an enriched life. See inspiring interviews with the champions who've conquered life's health challenges. Are you ready to unlock your potential to live with vitality and purpose? Then join the Health Revolution. I'm your host, Adriana Morrison, health and fitness expert, speaker, and a mom who understands. Let's embark on this transformative quest together. If you want to change the game, it all starts now. Michael Ryno, a visionary behind the lens, a storyteller of nature's truth, and a man who left nearly 4 decades in corporate banking to pursue what truly moved his soul. Michael holds a Master of Photography degree and is a certified professional photographer through the Professional Photographers of America. He's not dabbling in art, he's devoted to it. His work spans wildlife, landscapes, cityscapes, and portraiture, each image capturing stillness, light, and the present in a way that feels almost spiritual. In 2024, he received the prestigious Gold Medallion Award from the American Society of Photographers. But accolades aside, what stands out most is the courage it took to walk away from the conventional path and answer the call of something deeper. Michael is proof that it's never too late to honor what truly calls you. He followed his passion, not because it was easy, but because it was honest. And that integrity shows in every frame he shares with the world.
Scene that I've come across here this morning here in Boulder, Colorado. I'm at Chautauqua Park, and along the trail, I'm standing here on the trail. I've got my camera on a tripod. We've got some poppies here in the foreground. We've got the flatirons there in the background. Sunrise was about maybe 20 minutes ago or whatever in that, but still a beautiful scene that we've got out here in Colorado.
He now leads with impact through the Lone Tree Photo Club and the Professional Photographers of Colorado, mentoring others and donating his talent to causes he believes in. He's not just capturing the world, he's changing the way we see it. Today, we will learn what it means to follow your passion with courage, conviction, and creative purpose.
So in the calm bag, it has GABA, theanine, and taurine. So theanine, which is B1, which is also in our B complex, but it also helps with the stress response levels. It also helps with the neurological transmitters in our brain. Combined with the GABA, and then you add taurine to it. Taurine is a non-essential amino acid in our body, but it's found in our heart, our brain, and our eyes. So in my personal opinion, it's very essential in our lives. But taurine has a calming effect as well. When I was battling all my AFib issues, I was taking high doses of taurine because that would help with my AFib. It would help with the palpitations I was having. And it also helped with the anxiety of having the palpitations because I knew what was going on, and so taurine helps a lot with that as well. So those three together create such a wonderful concoction that really calms people down.
Introducing Launchpad, the perfect partner to help you launch your dream project to the world. We know that time is of the essence, and we're here to help you make the most of it. With Launchpad, you'll get access to the most advanced digital tools and strategies to take your idea from a mere concept to a fully fledged success. Whether you're an aspiring entrepreneur or a seasoned pro, we have everything you need to make your mark in the world. Launchpad, your ultimate launch partner.
All right, we're here with a dear friend of mine who is photographer extraordinaire, Mike Ryno, and he is the owner of Michael Ryno Photography. And I just wanted to talk, I wanted to spend some time, and I appreciate you meeting with me today. Talk to me about, so you were the finance guy for the longest time.
Right.
And how did you get from being the finance guy to really embracing your connection with Colorado, and what does it do for you?
Sure. Thank you so much for having me on, first of all. So I was in the corporate banking world. My degrees were in finance, master's degree in finance, and went into the banking world and did that for, between that and large corporate finance, I did that for 38 years, which felt like it was long enough.
My gosh.
4 years ago. So I went ahead and retired from that 4 years ago to pick up what really is my passion, has become my passion. I picked up a camera 9 years ago, started working on going out. I do a lot of fly fishing and hiking and outdoor activities, so I wanted to take better pictures of places that I go to. I like to say trout live in pretty places. So a lot of the places that I go to, I wanted to get a better camera. So I picked up my first DSLR camera, a Nikon entry-level camera, went out and started taking pictures with it and realized I didn't really know how to use it very well. So I joined a couple of clubs, and through that my passion grew and grew and grew, and I realized the more you learn about photography, the more you realize you don't know about photography. So continuing to learn every day.
Have you always had an eye for taking in what the camera can take in?
I would say yes. I even back when I was in grade school, early in my life, I had the little Kodak Pocket Instamatic cameras and that, and always was interested in trying to capture scenes that I would come across. So, but I didn't realize it was a passion until, like I say, just a handful of years ago in that. But yes, I've always enjoyed, taking pictures, doing that. Obviously, for years with the point and shoot cameras, cell phones came along with cameras and that. But it really was whenever I got the bigger cameras and that I really learned a lot more about photography.
Tell me, when you were in finance, it's really easy to get lost in the hustle and bustle.
Right.
What was the turning point for you where you thought, okay, I really need to embrace this, even though the fruits of the labor and just being in a place where maybe you were creating a financial future for you, there's a drawback with the work grind. What was the turning point for you?
Yeah, a great question. So, again, it was a great career for, like I say, 38 years in that. The last few years, we did go through COVID, so there was those challenges of analyzing financial performance in that for some of the companies that I was, dealing with in that. The stresses increased, the number of hours allocated to it was increasing. and just kind of some of those frustrations that I think all of us went through with one way or another through COVID. Some of those I was experiencing in that, and so that's really when I kind of, again, took a little bit more to my photography, and to your point, I finally decided, okay, I've been doing this for 38 years, I really have this passion. I was being asked to become president of Professional Photographers of Colorado. I really needed the time to allocate to do that my job wasn't going to allow me to do. So it was a combination of several things that led me to retiring, giving up the financial stability of a corporate paycheck, and go on and do things on my own.
How'd your family feel about you switching gears and embracing this, which, again, just completely different from the career that you started?
Another great question. So my wife and other family members were very supportive of it. Again, there were some of those discussions in that, right, with regards to the paycheck and kind of going out and taking that leap of faith. But they were very supportive, and obviously today remain very supportive of the decision.
Can you tell me, what are some pressures that you've noticed that being older, as a man who decides, you know what, I'm just going to embrace this, even though this may not be something that society would expect? What are some pressures that older men face, and what would you say helped you to decide, I'm just going to walk my own path, this is what I need to do? And again, so many people who I know that are in the corporate world and do that, and like you say, as we get sort of in that age, in my case it was 60 years old, of just continuing to do the same thing and not walking away from that. It did catch a few people by surprise, I think, co-workers and other people that were in the industry. What'd they say?
So they were surprised, but then when I described to them what it was, they knew that I was doing some photography just on the side, kind of as a hobby, part of a couple of organizations and that. But they at first were maybe a little bit skeptical, I would say. But I had a few of them tell me that no, that you're making the right decision. We wish we could do the same.
Why do you think it's so hard for so many people to follow their passions, even though they're doing the thing that they once thought they were supposed to do, to create a living, take care of their family? Why do you think it's so hard for people to switch gears and follow their passion?
I think a lot of it is the financial side of it. As I mentioned earlier, if you've been in a career for a certain period, you get to a point of, we'll call it income, and that stability and that I think a lot of times it's that fear of, do I really know what I'm going into? Am I really as good as what I believe I am at my passion and what my hobby is, to make a living out of it? So I think a lot of people, really question, just question their own skills and are hesitant for that reason.
Can you name a personal breakthrough that you had that told you, okay, I'm doing the right thing?
Sure.
I don't care what anybody else says, but for me, for my stress levels, that this works for me.
Yes. Some of it just has to do with recognition in that, right? Again, being part of Professional Photographers of Colorado, Professional Photographers of America, Lone Tree Photo Club. There were a couple times there where I, submitted images in that in competitions at the state level. Got first place awards there. Had one that came in at a national level. Got a first place award there. So those are the kind of things that are at least give you the encouragement that you're good enough at what you're doing, and now can I turn that into something that is actually a business, and that. The other part of it is, as I started learning more about photographing people, whether it be headshots, high school senior photos, a few weddings and that, as I started doing more of that, I became more confident with that part of it too. And so that also becomes a revenue generator, just doing some of the personal, the people photography.
Talk about the picture that you won the national award.
Sure.
What was that one?
Yeah, it was one at Union Station, sunset at Union Station, and by the way, I took that one while I was still commuting back and forth to work up downtown Denver, and I would always take my camera with me, and I would take photos, cityscapes we'll call it, and that. And Union Station has a really interesting architecture to it, And I just happened to be there one sunset when the sky really became aglow, and it had the orange and reds and so forth, along with the architecture. So I did that, a little bit of post-processing, do some of the Photoshop, but not making it look unrealistic in that. And submitted that one and didn't really think too much of it, and all of a sudden it got what it was American Society of Photographers had 2,000 entries last year into their competition, and it ended up being the Gold Medallion winner in that, so the first place of those images. So again, pretty exciting for me. I was down in Dallas for a award ceremony in that this last year.
Did you know that you were winning when you were invited down there?
So I did. I knew in advance, but I had to keep my mouth shut as far as letting
act
others
surprised.
know. My wife knew,
Yeah.
but a few people knew. But yeah, I had to go down there. I say got to go down there, and it was an honor to be up there on the stage and pick up the award that I won at that event. So so I did know about a month or so in advance of that, and like I say, had to keep quiet and not let anybody know about it.
Welcome to Renew Laser and Skincare, where beauty meets technology. From laser hair removal and anti-aging treatments to facial sculpting, acne care, and injectables, our expert team helps you look and feel your best with customized, results-driven care. Located in Littleton, Colorado, we offer a comfortable, welcoming space and cutting-edge treatments tailored just for you. Visit renewlaserandskincare.com to book your transformation today. Renew Laser and Skincare, where confidence begins.
Hi everyone, welcome back to Fit Bites with me, Adriana. Today we're tackling a crucial topic, the importance of being your own advocate when discussing health concerns with your doctors. Why is this so important? Well, you know your body better than anyone else. So by speaking up and asking questions, you ensure that your healthcare team understands your symptoms, concerns, and preferences. Now, don't be afraid to ask for clarification if something isn't clear. It's essential to fully understand your diagnosis, your treatment options, and any potential side effects. Also, bring a list of all medications and supplements you're taking to every appointment. Now, this helps your doctor provide the best care and avoid any harmful interactions. And remember, if something doesn't feel right, or if you're not seeing improvement, speak up. It's okay to seek second opinion or ask about alternative treatments. Being an active participant in your healthcare can lead to better outcomes and a more personalized approach to your well-being. So let's take charge of our health, ask questions, and ensure our voices are heard. Stay tuned for more Fit Bites, and let's keep advocating for our best selves.
So one of the things I'm curious about is you having just that connection in nature and what that does for you and your stress levels. Can you talk a little bit more about what that does for you?
Yeah, oh, for sure. Because that's a big part of what got me into photography. As I mentioned earlier in that, it was hiking and fly fishing and being out in nature, and that is, and what it was like back when I was doing, like I say, all that corporate banking work and so forth and that, the long hours, that was my stress release. It's always been my stress release, is to go out and get out into nature. I just love going on a good 5-mile hike or longer in Rocky Mountain National Park, going up to the waterfalls and some of the lakes and so forth and that. That has always been my kind of go-to as far as getaway, kind of relieve that stress that the other corporate jobs provided me with or gave to me. And so, again, having a camera now just gives me more and more desire to go out there, because now it's not just walking out there kind of taking the point and shoot photos of whatever I come across. Now I'm going out there with the intent of, okay, let me see if I can find something that is portfolio worthy while I go out on those hikes. But it still is, and it always will be, the nature and outdoors and those things that keep me really excited about getting up in the morning and getting out. Sometimes at 2:33 in the morning, I will go do that every once in a while, but I just enjoy that experience.
Talk to me about the famous viral video.
Oh, okay, sure.
That involves mountain goats. What was that like?
There were a couple of mountain goats, actually 4 of them all together, 2 babies and a couple of adults. So I got up early in the morning. This again was one of those days that I got up at, I think it was like 3 in the morning, and drove up to Mount Blue Sky, formerly Mount Evans, up nearby, 14,000 foot peak. But as I was going up, I photographed at sunrise some of the bristlecone pine trees that they have up there. And that was actually my initial intent, was to go up and get some of these sunrise photos. While I was there, I thought, well, let me just go up and see. I know that they have mountain goats in the area. I've seen them before, photographed them before. So I made my way up, and I came across, there was a gentleman that was photographing some. There happened to be a Subaru that was parked over on the side, just right in one of the pullouts there. And we were photographing. There were a couple of baby mountain goats. I was photographing those, and then all of a sudden a couple of the adult mountain goats decided to climb up on top of the Subaru, which just happened to have also a Yakima storage rack on top of it, kind of a little bouncy platform, as it turned out. So one of the goats in particular got up and started going up on there. I reached for my cell phone to take a little bit of video, and not expecting this, but all of a sudden it's kind of doing this little bouncy moves, and it does a little spin move and sort of a big dance. So as far as the viral aspect of it, I sent it to one of the local news stations. They showed it that night, and then the world, it seems, all of a sudden kind of took notice of it. So I did go on a few news interviews in that, local news interviews. One of the newscasters also sent it out to other parts of the U.S., and so I was getting calls from other people throughout saying, "Hey, we saw you on TV." So, but as far as on my Instagram side, I think it got 2.4 million views and a lot of shares and all of that. So, sort of one of those unexpected things that comes out of the photography world. You never know what you're going to find when you go out into nature.
What have you discovered to be something that men need to be on the lookout when it comes to stress? What are some things that affect men that men don't talk about?
Okay. Oh, there's a good question. I think just, whether it be occupation, whether it be just, life in general, whether it be stresses with maybe it's family, maybe it's, some other issues in that. But I think just pay attention to, as we all know, if you're finding yourself lack of sleep, staying up at night, taking on bad habits and that, I think those are sometimes the signal that something isn't quite right. And like I say, for me, when I have those situations, when I have the stresses that were associated with the work or whatever comes up, for me, that I do have an outlet, and it is to go out. But I think it's important for everybody to have, whether it be nature, hiking and going out, but try and find some type of outlet. For me, it became photography, hiking, nature, that was my release. But I think to that extent, whether it's men, women also, but in my case, I would say it was more just the job, the stress, the 60 hours a week of working in that was taking a toll, and I just needed to find those outlets.
what would you want those who do not live in Colorado to know about our state?
Okay. One, I don't want to publicize it too much, but we've got plenty of people here already. But I will say that it's a gorgeous state, right? I mean, here we are, 5 miles from my house, and there's this beautiful park that's nearby where we're filming this and that, right? We have so many, wonderful parks here in amongst just outside of the city. We've got a beautiful city of Denver. We do have, again, as I've pointed out earlier in that, some beautiful mountains. That's what draws me into some of my outdoor nature photography. So I moved from California, Southern California, 30 years ago, and really have enjoyed the experience of Colorado, all seasons of it. Winter, do some skiing and that.
And sometimes it's all seasons in a day.
All seasons in a day. I've experienced it going from 92 degrees to hail to cold and wind and putting on a jacket when you never would have thought that morning.
What is the one thing about your photography that makes you unique and your connection to whatever it is that you're filming, whether it is the outdoors, you've got that human connection within your photos?
Sure.
What's the one thing that just makes you unique?
Oh boy. So I think for me, I go out and sure I go to some of the locations that are well known, that a lot of people go and photograph and that. So when I do that, I don't feel quite as unique because I'm trying to do it at a time of day and so forth and that maybe not everybody is getting the same shots that I am. The part that I enjoy is just going out and not having a set agenda, not having a set, this is the image that I have in mind, but going out and trying to create something sometimes it's creating something out of nothing. Sometimes it's going and looking for the small scenes, something that other people are not picking up on, things that other people aren't seeing, but let me look closely at this scene or that scene, and maybe I find something a little bit different than others in that. So I would say the unique part of it is just looking for something that's unique as opposed to what's been done thousands of times before.
One thing I do like about your photos is that, there tends to be a vibe, a connection. And do you go into shooting either an area, or do you go into it with a certain feeling that you want to take out of that scene, or is it just however the mood strikes you? What are you looking for when you? Yeah,
good, another great question. So I go in there again with a couple preconceived ideas, but what I'm really doing is the big part of it is looking for light, and all of a sudden I'll be going in and it's like, okay, what I thought I was going to photograph over here isn't coming together because of just clouds or whatever it might be. But guess what? Those clouds that are taking away from this scene are making a beautiful scene over here and that. So I think I like to go out and try to. There's those pelicans I was talking about. I think it's just going out and just trying to find something, and like I say, creating something that sometimes is different from what I saw when I went in.
What does when you're setting the scene, and I know that you've shot sometimes in the middle of the night or super early in the morning.
Sure.
What does that do for you feeling wise? What is the one connection that describes that moment where you're in your element?
And many times when I'm in that element, I am by myself, right? I mean, a lot of these places that I go to, you talk about the night photography and that. Sometimes I'll hike into some place, or I'll take, one of the national parks or whatever, and I will get to a place that sometimes it's 4 a.m. to get the Milky Way shots, right? To do this. And again, the excitement for me is trying to find the composition, get the Milky Way in the right shot, get the settings dialed in correctly. And it's interesting what our eyes see, but then what the camera can pick up with a long exposure. So again, the short answer to that is just the experimentation of trying different things whenever I'm out there.
So you're pushing yourself and you're challenging yourself
right.
to get your vision of what you're hoping to get out of that shot, out of that scene.
Yes,
camera.
Yeah. Definitely. I'm looking at a scene and I will shoot several different ways, several different directions. Sometimes it's a matter of walking 3 feet aside. Sometimes it's a matter of walking 20 yards away, just to get a different angle, different perspective, low, high, just trying different things. And that is part of what, it's amazing. You can be, within 20 yards of one specific location and come up with 8 different images, all completely different from one another.
What is the one legacy that you wish to leave in the world?
You know, I think, you know, for me, it's, you know, not, you know, obviously I hope that some of my images, you know, live on and so forth on that, and that people continue to enjoy them going forward. But, you know, the big part of it also is just, I also enjoy doing some volunteer work in that for some of the groups that I work with. There's Douglas Land Conservancy. I won't go through all of them, but we've got that Wellspring community down in Castle Rock. And part of what, you know, I hope becomes part of my legacy is just, you know, sort of that giving back to others. Being president of Professional Photographers of Colorado, some of that is just giving my time, energy, and knowledge to others is, to me, as important as, you know, maybe the images that I come up with on some of my excursions.
Well, you and I have we've known each other for a few months now, and you've become a dear friend, and I remember the shots that we've taken in the past have been just absolutely eloquent and just truly embracing the outdoors, and I quite admire your work, and I love what you're trying to do, because you pour your heart into the photography, but the connection is crystal clear. And I love how you capture the essence of Colorado, and I think that that's something that shines brightly. And you know, Mike Ryno, it's been a pleasure to spend some time with you this morning and to share some of your knowledge and tidbits with all of our viewers, and I appreciate your time.
Great. Once again, thank you for having me. I thoroughly enjoyed the experience. Thank you.